Okay, so it looks like Rob Kardashian might not exactly be the perfect father, like we were led to believe, because his ex Blac Chyna, aka Angela White, just came out with some pretty bold claims to prove that not only does Rob not take custody of their daughter Dream, but he barely parents Dream, instead pushing all responsibility to his sister Khloe. Now, Khloe and Chyna have had their fair issues for a long time, and it looks like the bad blood is far from over, because Chyna is now accusing Khloe and her mom Kris Jenner of trying to exploit Dream. But why on earth would Rob sit back and let his family exploit his daughter like that? And what exactly is the Kardashian endgame in this? Let's break it down. Now, a lot of people might be hinting that she was trying to do the same with his own daughters north in Chicago. He wanted to expose Kris for pimping out her daughters and forcing them to posy for Playboy. He wrote, "Y'all don't have say-so over my black children, and where they go to school, they will not do Playboy and adult tapes." He also vowed that he would never let Kris pimp out his daughters, saying, "Don't let Kris make you do Playboy like she made Kai and Kim do. Hollywood is a giant adult content. Destroy my family, and I deal with E and Instagram promotes it, not going to let it happen in North and Chicago." He then claimed that the Kardashians had already started trying to exploit his daughters while trying to manipulate him and spin the narrative, saying anybody that says I'm spiraling highest level of control and discrimination based on the level I'm operating at. I know girls who sell their bodies that don't agree with how my daughters are displayed. Now, there's a lot that we can say about Kane and his chaotic behavior, especially when it comes to his wife Banka. But one thing nobody can deny is that he loves his kids and has been trying to protect them from being exploited. He especially had issues with Kim letting North use TikTok unsupervised. And he said, "Since this is my first divorce, I need to know what I should do about my daughter being out on TikTok against my will." However, Kim defended her right to let North use social media, saying Kanye's constant attacks on me in interviews and on social media is actually allowing her to express her creativity in the medium that she wishes with adult supervision. Because it brings her happiness, divorce is hard enough on our children. And Kanye's obsession with trying to control and manipulate our situation so negatively and publicly is only causing further pain. For all, I wish to handle all matters regarding our children's privacy. And hopefully he can finally respond to the third attorney he has had in the last year to resolve any issues amicably. So yeah, it's not like Blac Chyna's claims are coming out of the blue. For quite some time, fans had raised eyebrows over Khloe Kardashian's intense attachment to Dream, which many perceived as a crossing a line. While it's one thing for an aunt to be, Khloe and Tristan had acted as though Dream belonged to them. Khloe herself had referred to herself as Dream's third parent, and it wasn't uncommon to see Dream spending more time at Khloe's than with Rob, even though he had primary custody. But throughout all of this, Blac Chyna had remained composed and never appeared bothered by the situation. In fact, when the internet erupted over Khloe's third parent comment, Chyna came to her defense, calmly brushing off the criticism and showing support for Khloe.
I did really like seeing you and Khloe agreeing that it takes a village to raise a child. I know she got some backlash because people thought she was saying, "Oh, I'm, Dream's other mother" or whatnot.
I feel like I'm like a third parent for Dream, I guess. I mean, I do know how important it is for Dream to have a great maternal influence, whether that be from me or her own mom or whoever. It's important, and wherever she gets it from.
I think she was trying to clarify to say it's all of us that are raising her. You agreed.
Yeah, and then you have to think too, like, they're so close, like Rob and Khloe, like they're like this. So of course, like, Dream's gonna be like this with True, you know what I mean? Because like that's like Khloe's baby. Rob is like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So of course, like, dreamy. Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, Chyna has handled the situation with grace over the years. She's been on a journey of self-growth, and it seems like she's truly evolved. But recently, it's become clear that the Kardashians might be pushing their boundaries, and their attempts to distance Dream from Blac Chyna have become more obvious. The tipping point came just a few days ago, when Tristan Khloe's ex took things a step further by openly declaring Dream as his own. There was no sugarcoating. This time, he made a correct statement, asserting that Dream was in fact his daughter. The baldness of this claim left little room for misunderstanding, and it was clear that this wasn't just a casual remark.
Dreamy, I have two daughters, and their names are Dream is my oldest daughter, and True is the second oldest. Those are my two girls, and I miss you guys so much. I love you guys.
Chyna immediately stepped in to check him, making it clear that Dream was her and Rob's child and would never be his. She wrote, "Dream has one mother, Chyna White, and one father, Rob Kardashian. I usually don't speak up, but I'm done. Stop all this cloud chasing involving my daughter as parents. We have joint custody, and we also have a beautiful, healthy co-parenting relationship." But it wasn't lost on anybody how ironic it was that Tristan Thompson, of all people, was trying to claim Dream as his own, considering his track record of his own children. Let's not forget about the baby he had with Marilyn Nichols, the one he conceived while cheating on Khloe for months. Tristan denied he was the father, acting like the child did forced his hand and that he had to face reality. Even after that revelation, his involvement as a father remained minimal. He didn't seem to have much interest in forming a bond with his son. But now, out of the nowhere, he's trying to make a father figure role for Rob's daughter, the same guy who spent the first year of his son's life avoiding any sort of responsibility. It's just not adding up. While he did send some child support payments, his effort as a father to Marily's son barely went beyond the basics. This was nothing new now either. His relationship with his first son, Prince, from his relationship with Jordan Craig, painted a similar picture. Before Tristan even entered the Kardashian circle, reports had already painted him as an absentee father. Dream, with Dream being the only grandchild in the family to carry the Kardashian name, Kris reportedly saw her as a big paycheck, a way to keep the family brand thriving. Even if Rob had little say in the matter, if this was truly the case, it wasn't just about Khloe playing the role of overly involved eye. It was clear that the Kardashian empire was determined to maintain control over Dream, ensuring that they remained under the influence regardless of what Rob hunted. But since Blac Chyna had lost her defamation lawsuit against Kris and Kim and Khloe and Klyde back in 2022, the Kardashian generous woman seemed to have made it their mission to paint Chyna as an irresponsible mother. It almost felt like a deliberate attempt, parenting constantly taking jabs at her character and calling her out whenever their opportunity arose. Khloe in particular has always been strangely involved in Rob's romantic affairs, especially when it came to his turbulent relationship with Blac Chyna. But this time they really took things to a whole new level. She publicly suggested that Dream spent more time at her home than with Chyna, hinting that Chyna wasn't around enough for her daughter. And this wasn't just a petty comment. It was a deliberate move. Khloe's statement was designed to portray Chyna as an absentee mother, while presenting herself as perfect, a dedicated figure in Dream's life. It was all about shaping a story where Chyna was seen as a failing in her motherhood, while Khloe to try to control the public view of the situation, bending the narrative to suit their agenda. But here's the part that conveniently Khloe ignored. Chyna never made the decision for Dream to spend so much time at Khloe's house. The custody arrangement between Chyna and Rob was meant to be 5,050, and Chyna cleared things up with TMZ, explaining that if Dream ended up staying at Khloe's more often, it was because Rob was the one dropping her off, not her. It also seems like the Kardashians, with their power over the media, were trying to manipulate the story around custody. After all, we all know how Kris Jenner has had a long-standing relationship with Harvey Levine, the founder of TMZ. So it's no surprise that TMZ played its part in spinning the narrative to make it look like Chyna only had limited custody, while pushing the idea that Khloe was essentially Dream's real mom. This was a clear move to undermine Chyna's reputation as a mother, framing her as less involved, while elevating Khloe to a more higher idealized status. While Chyna wasn't about to let that narrative slide, she quickly put an end to the nonsense, setting the record straight that she and Rob shared equal custody of Dream. And it wasn't her choice for Dream to be at Khloe's house as often as she was. It was Rob who kept dropping Dream off, trying to create a false story that simply just...
And I may be wrong here, but my recollection is that you had Dream about 30% of the time. Is that something you're moving to change? And are you, communicating with Rob and I guess the rest of the family? Because I know Khloe played a part in raising Dream as well. Has this made inroads for you in that department?
We share 50-50 custody. That's number one. Also, too, I cannot control if Khloe is watching Dream at Rob's house. That's when he has his daughter.
Just after Chyna cleared up that confusion about our co-parenting arrangement, another bombshell dropped. This time, the Kardashians were trying to trademark Dream's name, not just for one thing, but for 5 different products, all without Chyna's consent. court documents revealed that Rob had actually given the Kardashians the go-ahead to secure trademarks under Dream's name for everything from skincare to clothing to toys, and even advertising. It was a bold and arguably shady move, signaling that they were trying to profit off of Dream's name without so much as consulting Chyna. It was a clear example of the Kardashian-Jenner family trying to capitalize on Dream's brand potential while leaving Chyna completely out the loop. To let the Kardashians get away with that, she took immediate action to block the trademark request, and the judge sided with her, shutting down all 5 attempts. This was yet another example of the Kardashians trying to control the narrative and profit off Dream. But Chyna wasn't about to let them do that without her involvement. However, Kris didn't back down. She continued pushing forward, and it turns out she was the one running Rob's official Instagram. It's a bit odd, though, considering there are more photos of Dream on his account than there are of Rob himself. It gives off the impression that Kris is using Rob's social media as a platform to further Dream's public image, almost as if she's trying to establish herself as a central figure in Dream's brand. But to make hear about the deal until the very last minute, which must have been incredibly frustrating. It's clear that the Kardashians have been working behind the scenes using Dream's image to line their pockets, all while keeping Chyna completely in the dark and leaving her out of the decision-making process. However, you would use traditional dairy butter the same way you would use country crock butter, and you use it 1 for 1. And I feel so excited because I'm trying to. At first, the country crock ad might have seemed like a typical harmless gig, just another commercial featuring kids. But when you look at it more closely, it starts to raise some serious questions. Do Kris and Khloe really need to be out here making money from selling butter? It's a bit odd, clearly not at children. The whole thing felt calculated. And what's more, it seemed about pushing their kids into the spotlight and capitalizing on their public images, than about promoting a product. Well, Chyna was not backing down, and she's been vocal about the Kardashians trying to turn her daughter into a business venture. She's made it crystal clear that she's not about to let them use Dream to line their pockets. During an appearance on Young Miami's talk show Carisha Please, Chyna opened up about her stance on social media and her kids. She shared that if it were up to her, she wouldn't post photos of her children online at all, trying to explain that her kids are already surrounded by enough outside influence, and she wants to shield them from the extra exposure and negative.
My kids, because like honestly, they're gonna be like who they are because of the parents and the family that's surrounded by both, you know what I mean? So it's like, why even burn my kids out?
At the heart of it, although Dream's frequent appearances on social media seem to stem from Rob allowing Kris and Khloe to profit off of her image, well, Chyna has been firm in expressing that her main goal is to shield Dream from the public eye, letting her focus on cultivating her own creativity rather than becoming consumed by her looks. Well, Chyna envisions a childhood for Dream where she can explore and grow freely away from all these harsh judgments that come with being in a limelight. While Chyna never directly called anybody out as clear, who's been promoting the idea that appearance is everything, it's starting to spark concerns too about whether Rob really deserves equal custody, especially since he appears to be detached from his role as a parent. It's becoming increasingly obvious that he often relies on Kris and Khloe to take care of Dream, which raises questions about his commitment and his mental health and parental duties. And then, if there's Rob by himself, why has he been so absent of all the Kardashian siblings? He seemed like the most likely to be involved and more hands-on. In fact, Kendall even named him as the most responsible parent. So it's puzzling that his actions don't quite align with that expectation. Rob has always been the laid-back, more grounded Kardashian, openly stating that he despises the fame and attention that comes with be. He's never been one to seek the spotlight. So it raises a lot of questions as to why he doesn't seem to be stepping up when it comes to his daughter. Well, some sources suggest that his health might be playing a big role in his absence. Robert's had ongoing struggles with his physical health, and there have also been whispers that he's dealing with the addiction issue behind the scenes. In fact, there were blind items circulating in 2023 hinting that the real reason Kris has kept him out the public eye is because he allegedly suffered an overdose. And the rumor adds another layer to the mystery surrounding Rob's more distant and seemingly checked-out role in his daughter's life, according to reports on December 27th at 3:17 a.m. Rob arrived unconscious to the hospital with pale face and blue lips he overdosed with. Alcohol and oxycontin, a painkiller fentanyl, was also found in his blood. He stayed under surveillance and doing exams all night long. When he woke up, he allegedly cried and screamed, "Blac Chyna ruined my life. I can't enjoy time with my kid without snakes and crows monitoring my attitude and behavior. I miss my kid. I want to die. The fame is not for me. I'll go to rehab without even kissing or hugging my child. She's my kid." Well, reports continued. Kris Jenner has allegedly called the hospital and directed that no information is linked to the press. Rob Kardashian is doing okay. He asked for 3 security guards. He asked for the 3 security agents who were in his room to call Kris Jenner. He wanted to talk to her directly and not through the phone. 47 minutes later, Kris and Khloe arrived to the hospital. Rob told them he did not want to go to rehab. He just wants to see his child, and did not want the press to know he overdosed, while Khloe agreed with him about not going to rehab. Kris was not so sure now. While we can't say for sure how true this rumor is, it does shed some light on a lot of the situation, particularly why Rob doesn't seem to have Dream with him as much. It could explain why Khloe has had more of a presence in Dream's life, stepping in where Rob has been absent, given that Rob is reportedly still battling personal issues and isn't as involved in raising Dream. Fans are now beginning to shift their blame towards Kris. Many are accusing her of abandoning Rob when he needed her the most, with the theory being that Kris saw no way to profit off Rob in the same way she could with her daughters. Instead of offering him the support needed, she allegedly let him deal with his struggles on his own. Only that stepped back in when Dream became a potential cash cow for the Kardashian brand. Well, according to Chyna, Rob has been so beaten down by his mom and sisters that he just lets them walk all over him and take charge of his life. Even when it comes to his daughter, Dream, he just sits back and lets them do whatever they want, which is kind of concerning to say the least. But what do y'all think about CHY speaking on the Kardashians like this? Is she doing the right thing by standing her ground and trying to get Dream back from the Kardashians? Drop your thoughts and comments.